Coming up next on Racesport TV, we head down under, where it's time for the Skippys to shine in the Australian sun. Join us in just a moment. You know, I remember my childhood when watching Skippy the Bush Kangaroo. He'd always find a way of telling to the adults that little Timmy was stuck down the well. Well, you know what? We're in Australia for a whole different kind of Skippy right here, and I don't think Skippy will be out to rescue the day. Skippy is out to win the day today. Welcome to Monday Night Skippies here on Racesport TV. Rachel Whiteford, Linus Brostrom and Conor Maddock, Hugo Louise on the cameras, bringing you all the action down under from the beautiful Phillip Island. Just a short day trip from the coast of Melbourne, Australia. Well, qualifying is underway, and this is fantastic here today. Up front, Gareth Dorning at the moment, Bill Fraser, Mick Watson back, Ken Halliburton, Gavin Marsden, Tom Ward all the way down in 8th place. Ross Balfour goes to the front. Connery, this is shaken up in the last few minutes of qualifying.
Yep, exactly. Ross Balfour getting the provisional pole at the moment. Gareth Dorning currently lining up on the first row with him, but you also got the likes of Bill Fraser and Mick Watson there as well. And, well, there's not much of the old usual drivers that we have at the top of the field. Tom Ward is mired down in 8th. We've also got Gavin Marsden in 6th as well. Stuart Adcock will have to currently line himself up in the 10th position. So this is a little bit of a topsy-turvy grid.
Certainly is, and Linus, things are going to be exciting. We've got a big field. You mentioned just before the broadcast, we have, what is it, 36 cars within 2 seconds? That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, we did, up until Ross Balfour got that pole time, and it's going to be a very, very good race. We've got a lot of cars within very little time here. I think the top 20 is within a second as well, so it's going to be an amazing race.
Certainly is going to be absolutely amazing, and we do have some points to look at here for the series so far. And you know what? It's not Tom Ward on top. Right now, Benny Simonson out front with 43 points. Just behind him, Kane Halliburton on 41. 31 for Tom Ward. Clark Williams also on 31. 30 for Dominic Brennan in 5th place. That is really close, to be honest. That's 13 points separating our top 5. And that is all to play for. That could change race by race, and with some of these guys not either here or not at the front. Benny Simonson down in 12th place. This really shakes up our points, Connery, and leaves us with a situation where we have a season that's actually all to play for.
Yeah, exactly, and that is very, very unlike last season, where Tom Ward won the vast majority of the rounds and took the championship by quite a margin based on points. So if this season stays as it is, with how close it is right now, it will be absolutely brilliant, and it'll be absolutely brilliant to have a championship fight at the end of it.
Certainly will be. Hello to everybody watching at home, all of you on YouTube, and well, we're having a fun one today. You're all talking about Independence Day. That is tomorrow, 4th of July. But there could well be fireworks here at Phillip Island, regardless of whether we're celebrating national holidays. Of course, Canada Day and their 150th anniversary was, of course, on Saturday. And all the Canadians were chugging maple syrup and firing off fireworks. So That's it's been a couple of days of celebration. I'm sure the Canadians are just recovering, the Americans are winding up for this one. The Aussies, well, they'll be racing here, hopefully, although it is the UK&I club, so that's completely irrelevant, do excuse me. Qualifying is over in about 30 seconds right now, and the two big threats, Tom Ward down in the 9th spot, and I believe Simonson's just moved himself up to 4th, Linus. He's improved, but not enough. He's still about 2-3 tenths off where he needs to be.
Yeah, he's gonna have to have a really good start and not make any mistakes. He has to keep up with the front guys pretty early on, because if he gets involved in a battle, the front 3-4 cars can be gone away from him. And he also wants to try and stay ahead of Tom Ward for as long as possible, because we know that if Tom Ward gets up to the front, he's gonna be gone.
It certainly is, and that's something I think the guys will be trying to restrict if they can stop him getting through this field. Phillip Island, notoriously good for racing. It's a narrow track, it's a technical track, but can definitely provide us some fantastic racing. All the Skippy races we've seen here in the past, Connery, have been breathtaking.
Yeah, they have been, and again, a great track for overtaking opportunities. You can stick the car down the inside of pretty much every corner, except for maybe turn 7 and 8 right here. And also, you've got heavy braking zones down into Honda corner and turn number 6 of Siberia. Now, here comes Stuart Adcock coming across the line in the number 52 machine side by side with Robert Plumley, but that's not position. Obviously, this is qualifying. Can Stuart Adcock improve on his 13th place? And the answer to that one will be no. He actually was 1/10 of a second slower than his fastest lap time.
Certainly is. And well, folks, without further ado, as the last of our qualifiers come across the line, it's time for the results. Pole for today in Monday Night Skippy's round number 3 will be Ross Balfour with a time of 1:43.854. Second place, Gareth Dorning with Mick Watson behind him. Benny Simonson in 4th place with Gavin Marsden in 5th. Behind them, Bill Fraser, Kane Halliburton, Andrew S. Leach, Tom Ward and Nathan Davies, your top 10. 11th place will be David J. Burns, got Neil Bontemp, Stuart Adcock, Stephen Wareham, Jake Tucker, Robert Plumley in 16th, Clark Williams, Seymour Harding, Nick Phillips and Jason Perry in 20th. Rest of those positions coming up for you. Look at our field though, it's a big one tonight, Linus. I think we're looking at about 51 cars in this one, so chock-a-block grid for Phillip Island.
Yeah, it's a very narrow track, and especially the first couple of corners, you really don't want to go off, because if you go off in that the first left-hander, the second turn, you're going to be going all the way out to the wall, and you'll find yourself at the very back. And with 50 cars ahead of you, you're going to have your work cut out for you for the rest of the day.
Certainly are, and there's plenty of action still to go in this one. We're going to get to the grid in just a few seconds' time. 14 laps of racing here at Phillip Island. Conditions, it's pretty cold actually. We're looking at about 67 degrees Fahrenheit with the air temperature. Track 70, winds from the southwest at 5, with a fairly even humidity, about 50%. So things are looking good here in the coastal circuit of Phillip Island as we'll head to the grid now for round number 3. Well, we've had fireworks in the first 2 rounds. We had Lime Rock Park last week, which was of course, as expected, total carnage, Connery.
Yep, it was total carnage, and it wasn't a great race for some drivers that we expected to be at the front of the field, and it resulted in a very interesting race indeed. And 51 cars around Phillip Island. I don't think I've seen as many cars around Phillip Island apart from one of the SRF Big Grid races that they had months and months ago. So it'll be interesting to see how 51 Skip Barber Racing School machines head their way around this track. It's not as short as Lime Rock Park, obviously, but 51 cars around any track is a recipe for carnage.
Certainly would appear that way. So we'll get going with this one as we get ready for the green flag here today. The cars lining up on your grid, and we get ready for those 14 laps of fun. Nearly 2 minutes in length per lap. We'll get this race underway in just a few moments. Ross Balfour and Gareth Dorning, your front row. Names that have been mid-pack for a while, but they've worked their way to the front as people do in this series, and they've seen the improvement, Linus, real quick. That's been a huge thing we always love seeing. We see these guys come through the field from starting out to being in the front.
Yeah, we see a lot of mid-name people from the last couple of seasons who are now up at the front racing for the wins, and it's great to see that happening. People who tend to be always up at the front, they kind of drop out, giving these bit slower names the opportunity to be at the front, and which makes them faster when they get better confidence. So it's great to see.
Certainly is, and the engines will get ready to roar here today at Phillip Island as the cars take to the grid. Finally, our leaders on their spots: Ross Balfour, Gareth Dorning, Mick Watson, Benny Simpson, Gavin Marsden, all lined up and ready. We should begin that green flag any second now. The engines rev, the lights go on the gantry above the Melbourne sign, and the green flag will fly. We're live here at Phillip Island, and the long run down to turn 1 begins. The field starts to spread, but everyone trying to take a single line here for the first corner. It's a very long first stretch here into the first corner, and a fast first corner it is for your field. Still too wide back in the pack, but not actually single file already towards the front. Tom Ward already trying to struggle forward to make positions. He's fighting there already with the likes of Bill Fraser. He's running back in the 6th spot. Tom Ward right behind him there. We've got him past Andrew S. Leach and possibly alongside Kane Halliburton, who's fighting with Bill Fraser. Up front though, inside line will go to Gareth Dorning. Early shot at the inside of Ross Balfour, who will take that spot very quickly. But he fights it back in the hairpin. We'll go up to the second hairpin now, and what is... I've forgotten what that corner, that's Siberia actually, because if you go off there you're usually heading that direction. But holds on to it does Ross Balfour. He will just maintain his lead in the two 180-degree switchback corners. Up in towards Lukey Heights, they'll climb uphill with a sweeping right and a climbing left-hand corner before they drop down into a heavy braking zone for the right-hand corner here, dropping down the hill. Huge braking zone there down the hill. Good opportunity to dive up the inside of somebody, but it's a very slow, tight corner. You've got to get the momentum right through that.
Just before
we do. Linus.
Trying to
take us through it, Linus.
Who that was.
I think Nathan Davies was in it. It was. Yes, Davies was in that.
It started with contact between Tom Ward and someone else way earlier before that, and then I don't know what happened.
That was actually Nathan Davies. It was a huge incident that carried on from one corner to the other corner, to the other corner, to the next corner, as Nathan Davies tried to skip his way away from the incident. Also collected another car as he was trying to rejoin the track. That was the car of Stephen Hefford, and there's also Luke Redgrave also getting himself involved in that one, and a couple of other cars just scattering behind them, trying to avoid all the stranded cars on the racetrack.
One of those really tough spots to have an accident, Lukey Heights. I certainly remember one time with former UK&I club captain Matthew Dalton, who backed a Fiat Supercar across the hairpin at the bottom of the hill there and caught me, but we'll not mention that one. We'll look back towards the front as we analyse that incident. We've got a fight now for the front. Benny Simpson challenging there with Gareth Dorning for your lead. Ross Balfour dropping back into position behind them. It is still Mick Watson, Gavin Marsden, Kane Halliburton and Bill Fraser. Tom Ward is still around. He's had a bit of a tap, but he's in one piece. Bill Fraser is holding off for now. He's gotten ahead of Andrew S. Leach. Up ahead, Kane Halliburton and Marsden. They're now fighting for position, Connery.
Yep, they are, and this front pack hasn't really separated out. The front pack consists of around about 10 cars at this moment in time, as a couple of cars are just about to head themselves side by side through Lukey Heights there, but they all get strung out single file coming down into the downhill braking zone just after Lukey Heights. This right-hander is actually Mick Watson, who has a little bit of look at an opportunity on Kane Halliburton, but that one isn't going to work out for now. He's looking to gain positions early to put himself in a better position for the end of the race, as most of your field is side by side right not side by side, in a single file right now. It'd be more interesting if they were side by side, but they are not currently. They're just getting used to the pace here early on in the race.
They certainly are, and Linus, the mid-pack here has been very busy as we have a fight for the lead going on. Watson and I believe Simonson also fighting position here. Benny looking towards the inside of Dorning, but it's not going to be close enough. Balfour holding them honest at the moment as Tom Ward cycles past Marsden. This one's, they're fighting a little too hard. They're going to really bring Tom Ward up to the front.
Yeah, if these guys keep fighting like this, they're not going to be able to break away. And what we saw there going into one, that was the draft down the huge front straightaway. We always see that, so I guess we're going to be seeing passes every time down the straightaway. So we got another pass for the lead here.
We certainly do. And it is a fight for your lead there between Benny Simpson and Gareth Dorning. But look at this, up there as well, Kane Halliburton involved as well. Tom Ward not too far away, it's too wide, too deep there. Through the hairpins, first hairpin and second hairpin here. Simonson holds the lead. Halliburton was going to shuffle his way towards second place, but it should be Dorning that holds the inside as we get towards the climb to Lukey Heights. And Balfour looking for an opportunity. Will he stick his nose in? He won't go for it just yet. Holds his car back for now, but has been trying to find an opportunity to get in there. Hasn't found it. Being a little careful, but here comes teammate Tom Ward behind him. Both of the friction racing cars there. Looking for an opportunity. Oh, a tap between Ward and Halliburton. No, that was Ross Balfour and Halliburton actually. Just opened the door for him. That's a risky move, Connery, but it made it work.
Yep, it did work. And if you, well, if you want to know the difference between Ross Balfour and Tom Ward in terms of their car, Ross Balfour has those cyan painted wheels and Tom Ward has those green painted wheels. So those are the difference. That is the difference if you're confused, as they head their way down the pit straight, coming onto what is going to be lap 4. The top 3 are trying to break away. 3 wide for the race leader is going to be Gareth Dorning making his way down the inside just before the entry to turn 1. Ross Balfour will battle with him coming along the outside. So that's 2 positions lost for Benny Simpson, but he's looking for them back, maybe come towards turn 2, the southern loop, as these guys are very, very close together, absolutely nose to tail. And now that gap they had over Tom Ward and Kane Halliburton is now all closed up.
Certainly has, and this has definitely made things a little bit more interesting with Ward breathing down the necks of the leaders here as up the inside goes the car of Balfour as Dorning makes a mistake there, loses momentum, but he should hold the inside line as things bunch up very tight there. A little bit of contact between some of the runners as Tom Ward will sneak up alongside his teammate there and will dice for the lead already here on lap 4 of 14. We said this wouldn't be a boring race, and it's certainly proving not to be. As we've got friction teammates side by side as the run towards Lukey Heights will come behind them. Benny Simonson, Kane Halliburton, Big Watson, Bill Fraser all looking for a spot in this group. Stu Adcock's also fought his way forwards here, Linus. He's not far away. There's all contact between 2 of them. And that was actually Adcock and I believe that was Watson. That made things a little bit sticky.
Yeah, really lucky to not have an incident there. As you see one car going off, must have been following that contact. He's just pulling off and stopping. But like you said, these guys are battling this 9-car battle at 8 group now, and the next 5 cars behind, they're getting really close.
Yeah, they certainly are. We had the incident there. That was the number 30 car of Mick Watson we were looking at as the battle for the lead. It's, I believe, Tom Ward looking at the front right now. Is it going to go 3 wide? No, it's Ross Balfour. No, 3, nearly 4 wide there as we run down towards 1. Tom Ward sneaks past Dorning, but will only be in 3rd place there as Balfour goes back to 2nd place. Simonson up to the lead of this one as we shake this one around. Ross Balfour was leading into the corner. Simonson holds the front though, as this pack will get very concertinaed there. A lot of momentum being lost and gained as we run through this one. The traffic has been very heavy so far. We'll look back at some of our notable mentions in the race so far. Robert Plumley in the 147 running back in the 10th spot. He's moved up from 16th place. He's racing right now behind Gavin Marsden. He's there with David Byrne, Stephen Wareham, Clark Williams, Ryan Walker in that 2nd group just behind your leaders. Behind them, Paul Thurston. He's still running for once. He's had a good race so far. He's up in the 17th spot. Started 22nd. Just lost a spot to Neil Bontemps, but we'll try and fight back in this one. Maltby down in 20th from 28th. He's climbed a lot of spots there. And Kip Stevens, one of our honourable mentions always, up from 30th to 24th. We'll look back at your leaders now as the bunch are fighting their way through Lukey Heights. Tom Ward, Simonson for the race lead here, Connery, and it's going to be dicey. Simonson should have the inside line. They're dropping into the hairpin.
And they're still side by side going through the last couple of corners as well. There's the penultimate corner coming up to the final corner right now. Tom Ward is going to have that inside line come the final corner, but Benny Simpson might have a better run off with a wider entry, as here comes the better run from Benny Simpson, making it side by side on exit. Now where does Ross Balfour play into this? He's going to make it 3 wide coming down to driver's left hand side of the straight. Tom Ward will file back in almost 4 wide, whereas Gareth Dorning decides to have a little bit of a piece of the action as well. There's Kane Halliburton having a run as well. 4 wide coming down into turn number 1, quickly changes to 3 wide and then 2 wide between Kane Halliburton and Simonson. Then Simonson will get through on Halliburton and make it side by side with Gareth Dorning as they go 2 wide, too deep into turn 2.
Well, we told you this one would get exciting, folks, here on lap number 6 of 14. And it's certainly kicked off. Ross Balfour still out front, ahead of Gareth Dorning, Simonson, Halliburton, Adcock, and Also, Tom Ward here, sorry, I forgot his name for a brief second there. This is definitely some of our more exciting racing. Phillip Island never disappoints, Linus. This top pack, though, is still not breaking up. We've got about 7 cars in this one, and they show no sign of separating. The switchback nature of this circuit just completely prohibits breaking this field apart.
Yeah, they just keep passing each other back and forth, and going 3 and 4 wide down the front straightaway is not really helping them pulling away. And as we see, the next 5 cars down the order is getting closer and closer, and now they're moving up on a lapped car as well. This could get interesting.
Certainly could get interesting, very interesting indeed, as they get past one of the lap cars, and that's one of the Radical Racing machines back there they've just gone past, as it is still Balfour from Dawning. Well, be inside will dive the car there of Benny Simonson in the braking zone. He loses momentum with the late dive up the inside, a shallow entry. Tom Ward will get an opportunity to make a move here, but he doesn't take it. He sits back in line, knowing something will come as they cross the start-finish line through the very fast left-hander here, the final corner, Linus. It is so quick here at Phillip Island.
Yeah, you really don't want to get it wrong though, because you'll lose speed all the way down the straightaway. As we see them going at 2, and we're going to make it 3 wide here again. He is.
He certainly is. Tom Ward puts his nose in there between the cars of Simonson and Dawning. Balfour safe out front as Halliburton will keep himself closed in. Will he go around Dawning as well? He has the inside for turn number 2. He should have that pass sealed, as Tom Ward will begin to harass Benny Simonson, the lone Apex car between the sandwich of Friction Racing entries. That'll be a tough one for him to handle. Stuart Hancock just loitering in the backdrop with them. Behind there, Bill Fraser, the 11-13 car, even not 11. Bill Fraser in the 13, fighting off Andrew S. Leach, Gavin Marsden just behind that group with Stephen Wareham. As up towards the front is 2 wide, 2 deep into the hairpin. As all wide goes Simonson. A bit of a slide. Balfour goes through, Ward goes through. Halliburton nearly went through as well there, but lap car's getting well out of the way of this absolute dogfight. As it's now a 1-2 for Friction Racing. Apex back into 3rd. Connery?
Yeah, and if I were a lapped car, I wouldn't want to get involved in this either to spoil. It was an amazing race so far up front as they head on towards the S's on the climb towards Lukey Heights. This top 4 will stay in line for now, but here comes Stuart Adcock trying to make a move on Gareth Dawning back in the rear of this train right here, and he will try and get that move complete before the right-hander, but now the advantage switches to Gareth Dawning as Adcock almost outbrakes himself coming down into turn number 10, but he'll still make it side by side with Dawning coming through the final couple of corners, and he will get that position complete. But as we've seen so far this race, just because you make the position complete doesn't mean you can't get repassed.
Certainly not yet at all, but right now this race is definitely hotting up. It's 2 wide for the leaders. Ward will go for the front position with his teammate Balfour behind them. It's Halliburton and it is Simonson side by side there for 2nd and 3rd. The gap closing to 1st and 2nd very quickly. Inside will dive Simonson, but he backs out, knowing it was too shallow an entry into 1-2. Halliburton gets the inside line on Balfour. Will Simonson follow him through the gap? A lap car dives out of the way. Simonson will loiter. He will just hold his position there, Linus. He didn't want to attack too quickly. Very mature racing here from Benny Simonson, doing what he has to do already to make sure this one will be a good result. Lap number 8, we're about just past halfway. Now we start to see guys playing for keeps.
Yeah, he was being very, very thoughtful there going into that corner, not taking any risk, as we see them still going side by side for 2nd place, and Simonson still looking for an option or an opening to get in there. He doesn't want to make it 3 wide for no reason, and here that's probably going to cost him as it goes a bit wide.
Certainly could be running wide there as they'll go side by side there between Simonson and Adcock. 2 old dogfighters in the series in the climb to Lukey Heights. Simonson holds the spot. Adcock will have the inside just by a nudge. Will he keep his nose in? He does. Adcock will keep that nose in there, trying to get in that position over rival Simonson. Dawning also looking to try and keep the spot, but not going to happen from Benny Simonson there. He'll slide his nose up there in the inside through the hairpin at the bottom of Lukey Heights. Won't keep the position though. Adcock will hold on to that one, move him up to the 4th spot. Now it's Adcock's chance to take a swipe at the Friction duo up towards the sharp end. Kane Halliburton, a major threat there in 3rd place, is never one to be counted out at the moment. He's had a fantastic season so far as Balfour goes for a move on leader Ward. And a big slingshot draft here for number 6 of Kane Halliburton. What will he be able to do with this one? They're on the outside. Ward looks inside to defend. Not going to have to do so though. They'll run in line into turn number 1. I think single filing out, Connery, as we progress here just past lap 9. And we're waiting for someone to make a move.
Yes, we are, and well, those Friction Racing guys, Ross Balfour and Tom Ward, I guess they're trying to work together at this point in time to keep the likes of Kane Halliburton, Benny Simpson, Adcock, Gareth Dorning, Bill Fraser, Gavin Marston, and everyone else in this train at the front, which is getting huge at this point as we go side by side for the race lead, 2 by 2 actually. Coming down into the Honda corner, Kane Halliburton will try and make a move on the outside. If he can hold it there, he'll have the inside line for Siberia, but he doesn't have the inside line on the leader. He may be able to pass Tom Ward here, though, for second place if he can get this corner just right as he slings his car in there. Benny Simonson sensing an opportunity as well, trying to get past Tom Ward. He almost crowds out Stuart Adcock on the exit of the corner. Adcock's not going to be happy about that, because as a result he loses the position to Gareth Dorning that he'd been fighting for. Now Dorning has a run maybe on Benny Simonson, and there's also Kane Halliburton having the look on your race leader, just not finding a gap.
Not yet at all there, as Kane Halliburton is in between the two friction cars now. Could Simonson slide his nose in there as well and get past Tom Ward? Not going to have a chance yet, but there's a bit of contact between the two of them there as they run through the two hairpins. He holds a spot for now. Simonson going to really doggedly attack the back of Tom Ward as Kane Halliburton goes after his teammate Ross Balfour. Nothing Tom Ward could do to help his teammate at the moment, as the fight has been taken to both of them one at a time. Across the start-finish line there, Kane Halliburton going to challenge with the outside run towards turn number 1 against Ross Balfour. Simonson on the outside there of Ward. Dorning goes round the side of Ward. Simonson holds a spot. He slots in place, will take that position. Halliburton going to run wide. Holds the outside though impressively there on Balfour. Not going to have the inside line. There's more contact between Ward there and Simonson. Now it's getting to be dodgems, Connery. This is definitely becoming a little bit more rough and tumble as backwards goes Ward. Through go Fraser and Adcock.
Yes, they do. As meanwhile, Benny Simpson's still trying for that move on Ross Balfour. Not going to be getting it, though. A side-by-side for the race lead coming down into Honda corner. And it's going to be Kane Halliburton hung up to dry if he's not careful here. But he does hold it around the outside to stay in front of Benny Simonson, though. But if Simonson's brave on the brakes around the outside, Siberia could make a move work there. But no, he'll just fall in line. There's a bit of battling behind as well between Bill Fraser and Tom Ward, as Tom Ward is going to have the overspeed off of the exit of Siberia on the run up towards Lukey Heights. He'll get that position gained. Meanwhile, back at the front of the field looking for P2 is Benny Simonson, and also Gareth Dorning's looking for the position over Benny Simonson. So this is a very, very, very complex situation. Lots of battles going on at once. I don't quite know where to look as we see coming down. Oh no, contact coming down into turn number 10. This is going to be a massive mess involving your leading pack, and it's more instance behind us. Cars spin in the middle of the track. Oh, big contact between them. A spinning car and Clark Williams.
Let's get a replay up for this one, because this was a evolving incident here. Simonson took a dive, locking the brakes into, I believe that was the first of the two hairpins there, as he just dives in, locks up, slams into the back of Halliburton, and Halliburton hits the side of Ward, rides the side of Ward's car, like a sidecar for a while as he goes backwards and collects, I believe that was Burns, or Dorning, I think it was at a point. And this is shaking things up dramatically now. As we look towards the sharp end, through goes Gareth Dorning on Ross Balfour for the very front. It's been split up a little bit now. Simonson actually almost got away with that one entirely, as did Tom Ward. Unfortunately, it was just poor old Kane Halliburton that had a problem, although I think it could be damage for Tom Ward and Benny Simonson here as past cruises. What I believe is that's Gavin Marsden, yeah, the number 7 car. So he might take the 3rd spot here over these two, but we could be seeing a further attack here at lap 11 of 14. A couple of wounded cars in his front pack, Linus. We'll just open this entire race up for a whole different game.
Yeah, a 13 car pack for the win isn't going to hold up for too long, but thankfully there's still 10 of them racing apart from the front two. Pulled a bit of a gap, but I don't think this fight is over yet. I think Tom Ward is going to be right back up near the front within a couple of laps.
Certainly looks that way here, as the very sharp end is Balfour and Dorning still separated by about a second from Benny Simonson, Tom Ward and Marsden. Ward and Simonson have gotten back past. They're catching up to your leaders. Not much damage then, we can assume, from that incident before. It looks a lot bigger than it was, as Simonson still actually has his front wing, which is a surprise to me. It's normally the first thing that falls off in these skippies. The gap will come down, we think, over the next lap or two, but they're not going to have long to make a challenge to this one. Bill Fraser still fighting back there with Stuart Adcock, the 13 and the 51. Duking it out, the 52 even, duking it out back here for position. Stephen Wareham's actually, I believe, ahead of them. He is. That's the black and blue machine there, the 51 car with the Puma sponsorship on it. He's right behind the 3rd, 4th and 5th place cars there of Marsden, Simonson and Ward. Simonson will be in 3rd place for now, Connery, as he runs wide though and gives that spot up to Tom Ward there. Ward slides up the inside, no problems whatsoever. Gareth Dorning up front, Balfour. These two very evenly matched, no problems for them so far today. They've both had very good races. This could go either way.
Yeah, and side by side, 2 rows deep for P number 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. As you head down into Honda corner, a little bit of contact there involving Gavin Marston into the back of Stuart Adcock, and even further contact between Marston and Tom Ward. That was a little bit of a more minor one than the one previous. Benny Simonson down the inside of what is going to be Stuart Adcock right now, as they just squeezes him on exit the corner, almost try and push him out onto the curb. But Stuart Adcock manages to keep 2 tyres within the racing surface. There's a little bit of contact behind between Marston and Bill Fraser as they were leaning on each other. Well, if these skip barbs had doors, they would be trading paint, but it's still side by side as they come up towards Lukey Heights between Simonson and Stuart Adcock, and Marsden, Fraser, and Wareham, and Andrew S. Leach. It's absolutely crazy racing.
There certainly are here, and it's definitely some banger racing going on here in Skip Barber Series. We're back to the old school era as Bill Fraser gives a tap to Tom Ward. This is touring car racing in open wheel formula cars. This is not the sort of racing we normally expect in these cars, but you know what? This is Monday Night Skippies at its best. These guys race these things like British touring cars. Balfour and Dorning have a 1.2 second gap over 3rd place. 3rd place, 4th, 5th. It's 3 wide behind them there with Marsden, Fraser, Leach and Wareham back there in that group. The very front pairing, of course, Adcock and Simonson right now. Fighting Tom Ward, going to try and come back there on Bill Fraser. We're on lap 13 of 14 here today, so 2 laps to go. In this motor race, it's Tom Ward, Benny Simonson fighting for that 3rd spot. There's no real chance for a 2.8 seconds gap. They're going to get 1 or 2 unless something happens between Balfour and Dorning, Linus. But Balfour and Dorning racing fair and fast for the lead here. Behind them, it's a real scrum for these final spots.
Yeah, the first 2, they're working together to try and keep this gap now because they know they're going to finish 1-2. But behind them, there's 2 by 2 by 2 going into the hairpin again, and there's contact again, but no one goes off again, and it's going to be 3 wide now for P5.
So, contact there as Marsden will go around and goes off the racetrack there in the 2nd corner. That was almost expected at this point with all the fighting we've seen, as Adcock and Simonson will fight now, heading into climb up towards Lukey Heights. It'll be Adcock on the inside. He has the right line here. He should have the spot secured, but the draft will give it back to Simonson. And this final lap will really decide things for them, Connery. One more time around, and this one's so close. We're going to see a risky move at some point here. It's going to cost somebody a lot of positions.
Yeah, everyone in what is basically your second pack here all want that final spot on the podium, because that's all they're going to get pending any sort of incident between your P1 and P2 number spots, as those guys, they head their way onto the final lap now, and so do Stuart Adcock and Benny Simonson, who are going side by side for P number 3, side by side for the race lead as well.
They certainly are. It's Ross Balfour and Gareth Dorning now for your lead. It's led by Gareth Dorning. Can he fend off the friction racing car of Ross Balfour for one more lap? Benny Simonson there holding off Tom Ward just, and the guy of Bill Fraser also nosing into the spotlight of this 2nd group for the fight for 3rd place. Behind them, it is Burns and Wareham ahead of Leach and Ward. Ward must be struggling here with damage. He cannot keep himself as far forward as he has so far. Connery, it's been a very tough one for him there. He's definitely nursing something with that car. Must be so for Simonson as well. He's dropped so much time now. Another 2nd last lap by. There's a little bit more contact there in the chicane, or the hairpin even, sorry, as that group just really backing up now. Must be definite damage.
Yeah, it looks like something to do with the rear suspension. There's contact in the 2nd pack between drivers of Bill Fraser and I believe that was Stephen Wareham, but they both managed to keep it on track and still fight for more positions in this 2nd pack. Meanwhile, Ross Balfour and Gareth Dorning, they're heading towards Lukey Heights right now. That battle isn't decided yet, as Simonson and Stuart Adcock, they go side by side for P3.
They certainly do, and in the final corners, Ross Balfour and Gareth Dorning now duking it out, and it is Balfour trailing Gareth Dorning in a moment as they come to the final sequence. Will anyone make a dive in the 2nd group into the chicane? They do not. Adcock is ahead of Simonson, though. That's a big position. Here comes a run by Balfour, though, on Gareth Dorning as they head towards the line. Huge momentum. Will he take this one as they're going to head towards the stripe? It's going to be Ross Balfour by about half a car. For second place, Benny Simonson just edges out. No, is edged out by Stuart Adcock for third and gets dumped for his pleasure as they come across the line. Followed by Burns, Leach, Ward back in seventh. What a breathtaking end to that race, Connery.
Yeah, and that second pack basically all came across the line in one big pack there. This is the likes of Bill Fraser, Stephen Wareham, Tom Ward, Andrew S. Leach. They were all within a tenth or a couple of tenths of a second coming across the line, as well as the marginal battles between your race leader, second place, and P3 and P4. It was, get this, just 300ths of a second between P1 and P2, and only 100th of a second, actually even less than that, between P3 and P4.
Really was, and well, what a close race we've just seen today. That was absolutely fantastic action for us here on the racetrack, as we're going to hopefully get a chance to bring you your post-race results now. Coming home in the win, Ross Balfour with a fantastic drag race to the line over Gareth Dorning, who comes home in second place. Stuart Adcock started 13th, he gains 10 spots to finish on the final step of the podium in third. Benny Simonson is fourth, David J. Burns in fifth. Andrew S. Leach, Tom Ward, Stephen Wareham, Bill Fraser and Clark Williams your top 10. The top 20, Neil Bontemps, Seymour Harding, Jason Perry, Simon Maltby in 14th, narrowly beating out Nick Phillips, Matthew Woollett, Paul Thurston in 17th, Ryan Walker, Scott Malcolm and Oliver Elliott. Rest of those results up on your screen, as we will get a chance to chat straight away here to Ryan Walker, who certainly had a very busy, fractious race there. Started 27th, finished 18th, Ryan. That was a helter-skelter one down here on the... There we go, I butchered my English again. I apologise, folks. I can English. Must have been a fun one for you down here, down under, I meant to say before realising it sounded stupid. Please tell me something intelligent so I can stop talking.
Yeah, that was pretty good fun. It was interesting being at the back of the field for a change, but I found it a lot more fun than being at the front, as strangely as it sounds. Had a good race, and sitting in P14 by myself for most of the race, and then I came up on an accident with Robert Plumley and someone else who I can't mind who it was. Went to go up the inside of Robert, but for some reason he just pulled on track and didn't even pay attention to what was behind him, and yeah, possibly ruined his race and my race, but I still finished in the points on my return to the UK&I League, so yeah, it's not been all bad.
Well, you certainly did, and that's a fantastic result either way. Certainly a big climb in positions there, 9 places total. And with a very dominant field performance we've seen here today, and it was 36 cars within 2 seconds of each other. No small feat to gain nearly 10 spots.
Yeah, that was hard work. I mean, I'm dripping with sweat after that. Not that anyone wants to imagine that, but
not really.
Yeah, no. that was hard work, but overall I enjoyed that race, and yeah, I'll definitely be back next week and for future races when time allows.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us, Ryan. It was always great to have a chat to you. Connery, that race that had every hallmark of previous Phillip Island races we've seen in this series.
Yeah, exactly, and it was an absolutely fun race to commentate on, fun race to watch as well, I think, with the battles all throughout your top 10, so much so that we actually missed out on a couple of battles that were going on down the field, but we kind of have to prioritize these things. But it was absolutely fantastic to see so many drivers in with the shout of the race win. And I think that is around about all we have time for today.
No, Connery.
Here on...
No, Connery.
Is it not?
When I said, Connery, take it, I mean, take the interview with race winner Ross Balfour, who's just arrived for you.
Oh, I did not actually notice. Anyway, Ross Balfour, P1 in qualifying, P1 in the race, and it was a very, very crazy race, and it was down to yourself and Gareth Dorning at the end of the race to see who was fifth to the checkered flag.
Yeah, it's pretty manic, to be honest. It was just crazy. You had to take it corner after corner and just not get in anything stupid. Kept it clean, well, as clean as I could in a pack of 10 cars. Tried to stay as close to the front as I could, and when there was a bit of I knew there was going to be contact at some point, so I made sure I was going to be on the front end of it. And then obviously when the pack exploded out, thankfully it was myself and Gareth that were at the front, so we managed to break away. And I had a feeling that I was a bit better down the hay shed than Gareth, so I knew if I was right behind him coming into the last corner, I knew I could probably get him over the line. So worked out alright just about, but yeah, it was a good race.
Yep, it was definitely an absolutely fantastic race. And, well, you said you got the run on him towards the line, and we saw that a couple of laps before when two leaders were coming out of the final corner. Usually it was the second car, if they got the right draft, getting towards the line. So I'm guessing you set up that move well in advance, knowing that you could get him at the line coming out of the final corner, even if you were second.
Yeah, I mean, I think I maybe could have led over the line if I was first, but I had a feeling I'd have been definitely would have led over the line if I was in second place. I always seem to pull like a tenth or two. He was quicker than me in different parts of the track, but just down in that last corner or two, I seemed to have a little advantage over him. So I knew I could use that to my advantage, and thankfully it paid off. When I was about 100 meters for the line, I thought I wasn't gonna get there, but thankfully I just about managed to pull it off.
Yep, and you did get there by around about 0.03 of a second, so very, very close indeed. But it's kind of the result we wanted after an absolutely brilliant race that we had. As I'll pass this one back to you, Rachel, and I think we may have Paul Thurston in the box as well.
We certainly do, and Linus is standing by with Paul Thurston. He's come here to have a quick chat to us. Linus, take it away.
Yeah, Paul, not the best race for you today, unfortunately. What do you make of that?
Well, it's better than my last 10.
He has got a point, to be fair. It was actually a pretty good race, considering.
Well, considering, yeah.
Yeah, the 5 Sepiguri Banana team drove a good race today. I'd like to thank my mechanics for doing absolutely nothing during the race. It was odd. Yeah, it's a great little race actually. I mean, I was in a pack with Jason, Seymour, and a few others, and essentially I just had the one silly little spin when Seymour got a run on me up the straight, went inside into turn 1. I just went too wide, just got on the marbles and slid it off. Luckily it didn't damage the car at all. It took me a couple of laps to get back up to speed. But hey, points. Oh, I'm having points. You know what points mean? It mean I didn't crash.
Yeah, so going around those last couple of laps, knowing what's happened over whatever the last 10 races or whatever it is, how nervous were you that something was going to happen and end your race?
Not so much then, because I know Ryan was behind me. I knew his car was damaged, so I had him. I had the run of him on the straight, so he wasn't going to actually catch me anywhere important. And there was a big gap to the guys in front. I was actually concentrating more on just trying to close the gap to the guys in front in case they made a small mistake, which Matthew did on the last lap. He dropped a couple of seconds. It just wasn't enough to give me. If it happened on the lap before, I might have had a chance of another space. In that situation, I mean, doing this long enough, you can't focus on what's happened before. You've got to think about, you know, what you're doing in the race. Treat every corner on its merits. Just every corner, same as you did it last lap and the lap before and the lap before that, and just try and focus on the guys in front and catching them. It's the only way to do it. If you start to think about what's happened, you'll just drive off the track. It's I've done that before too.
Well, congratulations on a finish anyway, and hopefully there'll be more of those in the future.
Thank you. Maybe top 15 next. I've got to think in small steps.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, all of our interviewees today. It has been a fantastic round here for round number 3 at Phillip Island here from Monday Night Skippys. As always, Rachel Whiteford, Connery Maddock, Linus Brostrom, and the magical Hugo Louise behind the cameras. We've had a fantastic time tonight, folks. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you next week. Goodbye.